It is. The bar is moving, everyone. So I think we're almost there, and then we could start, Jana. That'd be really
Alright. Sounds
Yep.
good. So
okay.
yeah, so my name is Jana, and I look forward to getting to know all of you guys first off, some new faces and some familiar faces, of course, and I look forward to working with you guys as well. So today our agenda is pretty short. The first thing we have is the DP representatives are going to give us a presentation about the Owl's Head wastewater treatment facility, and they're going to share their screen hopefully and show us PowerPoint. And then the second thing is actually a continuation of a discussion you guys were having before I was here regarding the proposed community cleanup, especially since fall season is here. So without further ado, I want to introduce Andrew Ying and Robert Oliveira. He's here too, I guess.
Yes,
So take it
hi.
away.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody.
Hi, Andrew.
Afternoon. Hello.
Thank you for coming out. We're so excited to hear about what's happening in Owl's Head and the capital projects you had presented upon and where we're at. It's
Okay.
near and dear to all of our hearts here on the Environmental Committee.
Excellent. So I'm going to try to share my screen. Let me know if you see the presentation.
Looks
Yeah.
great.
I guess.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if any introductions needed. I guess quickly, my name is Andrew Ng, and I'm the project manager for a couple of capital construction projects going on at the Owl's Head wastewater treatment plant, or what we're calling now water resource recovery facilities. Okay.
Great.
So today I'm presenting an update on the capital projects that we mentioned. Before we kind of dive into that, I'm gonna give a quick background of where Owl's Head wastewater resource facility is located, resource recovery facility. It's located in the Bay Ridge section of Brooklyn, as you see in the PowerPoint presentation, by the water right next to Veteran Memorial's Pier. So last time we met, a year and a half or so ago, we had talked about two projects. The first project we talked about was the sludge dock reconstruction project. And the project essentially is repairing two sludge docks we have highlighted in the red area. We have this, what we call the western facing dock, which is the original dock that we primarily use. And we also have this northern dock, which is all connected together as one single structure. As you can highlight in red, basically that red highlight area is the existing dock, or what we call low level relieving platform. As part of this project, we're also going to rehab the existing gravity seawall and bulkhead along the plant. And we've even looked at the revetment that we had over here, which seemed to be pretty okay. So we're not going to touch that into this project. Last time we spoke to, I also presented a residual chlorine reduction project, what we're calling a dechlorination facility. Dechlorination is essentially almost like an acid-base chemical reaction to the chlorination. So chlorination is a use of bleach, essentially, higher concentration bleach, which helps disinfect and kills off pathogens right before the wastewater goes out into the water body. Part of the new water quality standards, chlorine residual obviously has an impact to the environment. And so as a mandate to the state, we're required to now dechlorinate the residual chlorine by using a chemical called sodium bisulfite. And basically that neutralizes any residual chlorine that's left right before it goes out to the receiving water bodies. I just got a quick question. How do you guys want to do questions? You want to wait until the end, or if you have questions, do you want to just mention them?
I mean, I think we could jump in if anyone had a question. You could use the raise hand feature, and I think we'll be monitoring. Between me and Dan, if we see any hands up, we'll shout out to Jana, and she could call upon the committee members. How's that? Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
Sounds
great.
good.
I'll give some time between things, so if you have questions, you can digest and then you can ask. So a quick overview of both projects. Again, the reconstruction of sludge dock. The reason why we're doing that project was back in 2016, we have a citywide contract that does inspections of all the waterfront assets that New York City owns. During that dive inspection, they noted advanced deterioration of the existing sludge docks. So basically, it was not usable for a time being until we replaced the dock. We had the west dock was in a far severe condition than the north dock at that time. I think it was about the west dock was deemed immediately discontinued use. North Dock had approximately 3 to 5 years of life before you had to reassess for the condition. The dock is used to transport digested sludge to the facility, which is roughly about 1.5% solids. And typically, digested sludge gets ultimately shipped out into a landfill. Very costly to ship out 98.5% water. So what we typically do is we deorder it. And we deorder it in facilities, in one of our other wastewater treatment plants or our wastewater recovery facilities. We bring it down to about 10% solids so that it's a lot cheaper to start trucking and sending them out to, either we're sending it to make fertilizer or we send it out to for landfill, for useful landfill, we normally, I think out of the 14 plants, I think 8 of the plants have dewatering facilities. Unfortunately, Owl's Head is not one of those facilities. So what we do is we ship it out to one of the facilities that has dewatering, and that's how we process and the sludge. The total residual chlorine project, again, is considered order driven by the state. Ultimately, the goal to reduce the water quality, to promote water quality standard and reduce chlorine residual in the receiving water. And then we basically, at the very end of the process, we'll dechlorinate it right before the effluent flow of the plant goes out to the water body. And again, chlorine does a great job at killing pathogens, does a great job at killing microorganisms as well. So the reason why we're doing this is we can protect some of the microorganisms and continue the water quality improvements along the New York City Harbor. So I'm going to talk about the dock project first. Again, this is to have a background of what we're doing under this project. This project, we had a 2-phase approach, a 2 construction contract approach. The first contract was called a demo project. We basically could start immediately demolishing the west dock, which we knew could not be used. And so no design was needed to really figure out the demolition besides maybe limits of demolition. So we were able to put that contract out first while we start designing the final improvement, which is the second phase, the OH91 project, which is the reconstruction of the west dock as well as the north dock in a phased manner where we can come in, rebuild the west dock, get that operational. North dock was in operation, so we had anticipated then after we have west dock operational, we can demolish the north dock so that we can have continued service of sludge barging without impacting the community, without impacting our treatment plant. Any questions on the scope of these projects?
Sounds good.
I see Larry has a hand up.
Just still on the breasting dolphins, just a little background of that.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the picture up above. So we have our sludge boat typically run basically from, I don't know if you see my hand on
Yes.
Google, I'm sorry, on the share.
Yep.
Yes.
So the sludge boat basically runs about from this long all the way back down here. And I think when they first built the dock, they were constrained in how long they can make this west dock, right? So the sludge boats span a longer than the actual dock. So we have breasting dolphins here that we use to tie off the vessel so that they remain stable during operations. It's a very common marine design when you have a dock that's actually smaller than a vessel that's servicing. So the breasting dolphins are these 3 over here, and we're replacing with 4 new monopiles or basic breasting dolphins that are circular versus a square structure. Any other questions?
OH, that stands for?
OH is just outside. It's just our contract terminology. You know, when we have a project for like Port Richmond, which is a plant in Staten Island, we'll use PR. Or if we had a project in Hunts Point in the Bronx, we say HP. It's just like a naming convention.
It's not WP or, you know, what? What's the name? Yeah, I remember it used to be.
Excuse me?
Capital project used to have a WP for, for,
Well,
police
Yeah,
work.
we have WPs, which are budget codes that we use.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, the WPs are the budget codes. So we have budget codes specifically for each plant. Sometimes we have budget codes for wastewater treatment and a budget code for clean water. So we have like WP like 112, WP 164. So we have those too. So there's a lot of different acronyms and names to define a project.
And the fertilizer project, is that for all plants or just some of them?
The fertilizers, that's not part of my area. So I'm not really sure where the fertilizer contracts fall under.
Farmers love it. That's
Yeah.
The pelletization. Yeah.
Okay. So just give me a project update on Arlington 91, both contracts. The demolition contract was awarded November 1st, almost 2 years ago. The expected date, and we actually completed the project a year ago, October 30th on 2019. So we were 1 day ahead of schedule. The contract was awarded for $3.5 million. We completed it at cost, no change orders. So ultimately that was a successful project. The reconstruction project, we bid the job out in January 2020 of this year. It's emergency contract, being the fact that the dock, we knew it didn't have much life remaining, so it was done under emergency, and we were able to award the contract to a contractor. We did ask bid from about 9 to 10 marine contractors, and we awarded the contract in February 24th. It's a 3-year construction period. The awarded cost was $45 million, which was actually right at the engineer's estimate. And we're expected to complete this project in February 23rd, 2023. Okay. Questions? Okay. So I'm going to bring this up. You guys may have noticed additional truck traffic starting around March or April.
Yes.
So we had awarded the job in February 24. Like I mentioned, we did a dive inspection in 2016, and it noted that the North Dock, which we were using instead of the West Dock, only had about 3 to 5 years of life. We did a follow-up inspection in March 2020. The engineers that inspected the North Dock recommended that we suspend all activity immediately. So what that meant was we couldn't barge a sludge, and we had to do on-site dewatering. So it's probably starting around April or maybe even late March, you probably noticed we have a little bit more traffic coming in and out of the plant, and that's basically taking away dewatered sludge from the treatment plant. Where we did look at a lot of different engineering options, design construction options to restore the North berth or restore West Dock to see what we can do to either expedite the construction or do something else to resume sludge barging. It seems like the best option was still focus on completing the West Dock since we had the contract, and we're estimating that construction of the West Dock to be done by the spring of next year. So probably 6 months, 6 to 9 months from now. Because this was an emergency, we are full steam ahead. We have not stopped because of COVID or any other issues. It's one of the more critical projects we have at the agency. Any questions about this?
Yeah, so I have a question if I
Sure.
can. So the dewatering is going to continue. Do you have any idea, we just know anecdotally, we've heard from residents about increase in truck traffic. Can you just share with us, is that a daily increase? So does this dewatering happen daily? Is it,
It's continuous. We don't stop pumping. We don't stop producing sludge.
Okay.
It's continuous. I believe we're seeing. I could be wrong. I'm not the operator, but again, this is anecdotal to me from internal discussions. I think we're seeing somewhere between 3 to 5 full truckloads of sludge a day that
Okay.
comes in and out. I know there are concerns of odor. I was there a week ago, and I noticed that the plant facility was doing odor control around the facility. So you're probably not experiencing additional odors. So no concern would be just the truck traffic. And I know the area right at the entrance to the facility, it's fairly busy. I'm saying fairly busy because of COVID, it probably has not been as busy as it normally would be. But I know that's a concern. So that's why we put a lot of effort, and we're still putting a lot of effort to get the West Dock done as fast as we possibly can.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that there are 2 freight entrances to the waste treatment plant. There's the one that kind of goes along the water, and there should be one also, I think, that opens up onto the highway, or at least onto an access road. Do we know which one has been used? I imagine it's the main entrance, which is down by the pier.
Right. That's the entrance we're using. That's the other entrance. That ramp leads into the Bell Parkway, which is no commercial traffic.
Okay,
And so
that's
anytime we
yeah.
can bring trucks in, not a problem. Anytime we have to bring a truck out, it's a big issue with DOT. We need to get police. We need to get escorts to back a truck back into the BQE.
Got it. Oh, because it basically is
It's
going
one
into
way.
a single way.
yeah.
That's
I
like
mean,
it's
if it was
the
not
worst
commercial traffic-
direction.
Right. Right. We've used it a few times for things when we had to. So during construction. So I'm well aware of what's required.
Yeah, I
to
know that
actually do that.
we had been using that for some of the construction work. So, but yeah, if it's a daily truck traffic, that's not gonna fly. All right.
Yeah.
They don't go under the 69th Street Pier Bridge, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you leave it, right? That's the exit point.
There's enough room there to them.
Oh, it's the new bridge. It's much higher.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard of any issues with the trucking space. But yeah.
No, we have received calls about trucks and odors.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go into the construction of OH91, which is the reconstruction of the west and north. So before I dive into that, any other questions about sludge barging, dewatering, sludge, odor? Okay. All right. So we had NTP end of February, and then within that time, we've been doing a lot of soliciting material, getting dock material, getting concrete material, getting approvals, getting work permits. So we have a lot of stuff ready to go, and we're looking to start the work sometime in October, probably within a few weeks, if all things fall into place. The first thing we're going to do, since the West Dock is essentially demolished, we're going to start driving piles. And again, we'll probably start in October, second week, maybe third week of October, depending on the delivery of the piles and the work permit approval. The piling would last probably until early January. And we're going to have a vibratory section and a impact section. So there will be some noise coming from power drive-in. We did some power drive-in during the demo, short period of time, and we don't know if there's any complaints or not. We haven't heard any. It was really short-lived.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a lot longer. We're not really super close to any residential. We have to park right outside the perimeter of the plant. But it is an open area, so I'm sure there'd be some noise expected. We told contractor you can't power drive earlier than 7 a.m., which is when unions allow them to work from 7 to 3. And we expect them to work from 7 to 3:30. maybe later or days, depending how much they want to get done, but no later than 6 p.m. Because I don't believe work permits allow work later than 6. The other impact to the community is concrete, which some of concrete it can be, especially cast in place concrete is trucked over to a facility. So we do concrete work. There's going to be a lot of trucking into the facility. A good thing is the design calls for a lot of precast concrete, which means it's done offsite. And then, so like the planks are done offsite, and then it's shipped over on site. So there's no concrete pouring, no trucking. But
Nope.
there will be some cast in place concrete going on. We have a lot of sort of 2-day, 3-day events where we have cast in place concrete, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks we don't have any, and then another 2 or 3 days we have some. And that kind of on and off starting December all the way to April. We'll have wash down stations in the facility so that so the trucks are clean when they leave the facility. But there will be some increase in traffic in addition to the traffic from dewatering around that time. We will have flag people when we bring deliveries, like truck deliveries, out by the entrance, because we do know that it is highly used recreational space. The good thing is during the entire construction, we're going to continue operating the treatment plant, although with dewatering. And a lot of the construction deliveries, besides concrete, majority of the construction deliveries, like the piles, all the construction waste is going to be removed by barge. So we're not going to have increased traffic when we're delivering materials or removing construction debris.
Check the date out.
Any questions?
It's April 2021, correct?
I'm sorry. Yes, April 2021. Thank you for that. I'll fix that.
Right, and so we can expect pile driving starting this October, going possibly latest about 6:30, but ideally ending around 3:30. Because I know that like sound does definitely carry across the Narrows, and we had I believe some pile driving like a year ago that
On the Staten Island
everybody,
side, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, you can hear it, yeah.
everyone termed the Bay Ridge Bing, where they just kept hearing it, and it goes right up the ridge of Bay Ridge. So it's just good to know that we'll probably have people hearing it. But as long as we can let people know.
Yeah,
And we can identify it, right, Dan? I mean, that could be.
It took like a month to identify the other one, so it's nice to know that we'll have an easy identification for this one.
Yeah, and if there's any issues, community impacts, anything, whatnot, let me know. We have some leeway with the contractor. Maybe maybe we try to do a little later. Maybe the first hour is we prep or something. So we can try to do things around. The community has a big it's a big issue with the noise.
Yeah, I don't know if it's too much of an ask, but I don't know if there's any way to just alert us. I mean, tomorrow's October 1st.
Mhm.
I'm sure we'd like to share, kind of when it's, if you have a start date, if you as we get closer to it, I think that would be helpful for the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. 48-hour notice. Usually we get that from the contractor. Once we have the notice, we'll let you guys know. You probably start seeing giant cranes on barges coming in, and then you could probably guess. You can see a clear shot of it off the Bell Parkway when you're driving, eastbound, westbound. So you'll probably start seeing those barges. When you start seeing those barges, we're probably ready to start.
Okay.
But we'll let you know before time. I'll let Robert know, and he'll send the information over to you guys.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
going from October to April would be, that's winter is ideal, just so that we can have everything fresh for springtime. I'm sure everyone will be really itching to go outside and enjoy the water at that time.
Right. So again, this reconstruction is both the west and the north. So we'll hopefully have the west done. Once the west is done, we're going to start working the north. We'll probably start doing some north dock work, because now north dock is not operational. We see it as an opportunity to condense the schedule somewhat, so we can start doing demolition work. while we're driving these piles for the West Dock. And once we're done with the West Dock pile driving, we're going to try to start the North Dock pile driving. So, we have about 3-month gap. I think the original schedule, we had a longer gap because, we had to finish the West Dock first. Now we're thinking we can pile drive sometime starting in April. So, from January, we'll finish for the West Dock pile driving. We're going to start again sometime April to September. And these are very tentative dates. These are just like a high level schedule. We're really focused on the West. So these are just sort of, okay, we can probably do it then, but there's no guarantee this will actually happen. Same thing, Monday through Friday, working between 7 to 3. And concrete work, similar to the West Dock. We're going to have some cast in place concrete intermittently. And the concrete pour would start around August and last all the way to the year after. It's a much bigger dock, much more work being done. So the concrete work will last all the way to October of 2022. All right, so almost a year of concrete work. Again, it's not like everyday concrete. It's maybe 2 days or 1 day of concrete every 3 weeks, right? Maybe at worst case will be like 1 or 2 days of concrete every week. While we're doing the North Dock, we're expecting West Dock to be operational. We can continue doing barging again. Again, no interruption to the plant service while we do the North Dock. And all the construction debris and all the construction deliveries will be done by barge, at least, primarily. So any questions on the reconstruction dock project?
Is it precast again, or just the same? There will be concrete work on site?
Excuse me, what work be on site?
Concrete work, will they pour concrete? Or
There will be some concrete work on site, yes. It's primarily the pile caps. We have to pour concrete on them. So that's basically what's going to support the planks. So there'll be pile cap pour, closure pours. Again, it's not every day. It's not a lot of concrete. It's just a lot of little concrete. So it adds up. It may take a couple of days to get done. Then there's like a period of waiting just to wait for the concrete to cure. And then again, we have a lot of cast in place concrete planks, and we'll bring those in, install those guys, and then we need to tie those in and so we have a closure pour a few weeks after that. And again, it's why it's like intermittent. Every couple of days, we may have it every week or two, a couple of days.
And that's not going to be during the winter, obviously. You're not going to pour the concrete in the winter. So
Yeah, it's not going to be like, sometimes you have big concrete jobs and you have continuous truck of concrete just waiting. I don't suspect to see that for like months.
And a question on just barge frequency. What's about? We might get I'm expecting a question during maybe the general meeting of interfering with, say, the ferry traffic, which is again only like once an hour or so, but just idea of like frequency of barge traffic, etc.
We're gonna mobilize the barge, and it's not gonna leave. It's just gonna stay there overnight until the construction is done.
Cool.
Part of the job is to notify Coast Guard. We'll work with the water taxi. We did that during the demolition. We suspect to have about 4 barges. We had 3 during demo, so I'm suspecting we have another barge because we have the space for it, and they'll just sit there. And it won't be, besides the day we bring them in, we won't affect traffic from the waterway.
Great.
If anything, though, we're going to ask for a no wake zone as water taxis pass our area. So, I mean, there's going to be some impact to the water taxis. They got to go slow for several hundred feet until they pass that area.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay. Next project we're going to talk about tonight would be the residual chlorine reduction facility. Again, the new building is proposed to be located on the southern part of the plant, extremely visible, especially at the pier. That's where the end of the process is located. So it makes the most sense to put it right there. Otherwise, we have to run lots of piping, lots of expensive piping, and which also adds potential leakage, and that's something we definitely don't want. This is the area where the building was going to be located. We have a little small grassy space. So because it's not enough space for the building, we had to encroach into the roadway, and so we're also expanding the roadway so that we have enough space for our vehicles to pass in and around the building. And because now we're taking away some of the impervious surface, part of the design is to include a rain garden along that south roadway, enough where we're not impacting stormwater any more than we were before. So a quick rundown of this project scope of this project. It's a dechlorination building that's going to house. This could be a 2-story building above the flood elevation, so we meet all the resiliency requirements. It's going to have 2 7,000 gallon sodium bisulfite bulk storage tank. It's going to have 1 about 1,200 gallon emergency drip tank. So if we lose power, we can still dechlorinate by just gravity dripping into the tanks. We have metering pumps so that we can dose, so we don't dose too much, so we don't dose too little. Very complicated control strategy so that we can keep the process efficient. We have chemical transfer pumps. We need to move chemical from one tanks to another. Definitely from one tank, like the small tanks to the big tanks, or big tanks to small tanks. We can do that through our transfer pumps. And the building was going to be heated through the existing plant hot water loop. This chemical, it has a very, very high freezing point, like around 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And once it freezes, it's going to clog up piping. So the heating was a really important element to the design of this building. Some designs, because there's really no other choice, use electric heating, which is not it's not really sustainable. Luckily, we have a hot water heating system here, which is the heating in the whole facility is heated by our main sewage pump engines and heated through our boilers, which is powered by our digester gas. So we're able to kind of utilize the existing heating system, which is heated from our gas that we produce. So it's more sustainable design. Part of this project also was we looked at the chlorine system, and they're quite old. I think those tanks were built in like 1990s. They've been refurbished quite a number of times. They look like Frankensteins out there. So part of this project is to replace those existing, called sodium hypochlorite, which is the bleach solution. Replace those storage tanks. We also noticed that the existing chlorination building doesn't have removable roof planks, which is what's usually used to remove and replace bulk storage tanks. So as part of this project, we will continue to do that. We will rip up the existing roof and put in replaceable, removable roof planks. And we'll also optimize the chlorine control so that the disinfection system will be as efficient as we possibly can make it. When we do the chlorination improvements, we're still going to chlorinate, and we're going to do that by installing an interim chlorination system. It's going to be an outdoor, sodium hypochlorite system, similar to the design we have today. 3 tanks. There's existing gravity drip, so we don't need to have a gravity drip tank for the chlorination system, but just basically 3 bulk storage tanks, metering pump skid in a trailer. It's going to be located, somewhere where we have space, and that's going to run for about maybe 1.5 years or 2 years until the permanent chlorine is in place. Any questions on scope?
Richard Day has his hand raised.
Hi, I was just wondering, do any other plants in the city use this technique? And if so,
All of
how
our
long
plants
have they
uses
been using it?
chlorination, sodium hypochlorite. For the dechlorination, we have designed and constructed 3 facilities that uses dechlorination. Newtown Creek, which is the one in Brooklyn, North River, which is the one in Harlem in the city, and Coney Island, which is on Knapp Street in Brooklyn. Those 3 facilities have the dechlorination process, and they're all running as far as I know, pretty well. We're meeting chlorine levels. So this is a proven technology. So this is why we went with this design.
Okay. And I guess a little bit outside of that are there plans to bring this to other plants as well, or like what are the plans for the other 14 or so plants throughout the city?
So some of the plants actually have extremely low residual to a point where we don't need to do anything. I want to say Bowery Bay is one of those. We have about 3 or 4 plants that are like that. We have another 2 or 3 plants. We're talking again at the early stages of a dechlorination design. We have another plant where we're talking about, instead of doing a dechlorination design, we might extend an outfall further into the receiving water, where there's more dilution. So that way, the limits we have today would work if we move that outfall. Not the limits, but the discharge of chlorine that we have at that facility would meet water quality standards if the discharge is moved further out. Because I think where it's located now, it's an area where there's not a lot of water movement. So the limits are a lot lower. And a lot of this, we work with the state, and when they look at our proposals, our plans, and they approve of which technology to use. And sometimes, we talk with them during the technology, when we build it, when we operate it, to make sure that we're meeting the limits, we're operating it correctly, and so forth.
Great, thanks a lot.
So just the schedule for this contract, we're calling this contract OH92, right? So 91, 92, it's just a sequential number sequence. But OH92, this contract bid opened in October. We got a good number of bidders. I want to say like 12 bidders, which is great. So we know we have good value. Contract was awarded February of 2020. Took some time because there's a lot of bidders to evaluate to make sure that we have the lowest responsible and responsive bidder. The cost ended up being $29,700,000, or shade out on this $29,700. We issued an order to commence work March 30th. As of today, we're expected to complete this project, and this is the chlorination and dechlorination part of the project, in May of 2024, and the dechlorination to be completed roughly 3 years from now. This one was impacted by COVID because it wasn't an emergency. So we would have been a year ahead of schedule. We would have been a year faster if there was no COVID impacts, but that's where we are today. Construction impacts, similarly, work Monday through Friday, 7 to 3:30. We're going to continue building, both part of this project, the chlorination and dechlorination part, without interrupting the service. There's no hazardous materials that we found, so there won't be any hazardous excavated materials. There will be increase of traffic a little bit. Workers coming in every morning. It's going to be, more manpower coming in. This could be material delivery sometimes, some with wider loads. We don't have the same requirement about delivering through barge on this contract. Quite frankly, it's a little bit less material, and a lot of material is not really bargeable. I guess that's the word. We're going to have erosion, sedimentation control plans. We're going to have dust and noise control measures. Contractor needs to submit their quality of life plan before they start to make sure that they're not, adding additional stress to quality of life of the surrounding environment. We will have concrete piles under this job for the building. It will be about a month worth of pile driving, so a lot shorter than the dock project, but there will be some pile driving. Don't have a schedule quite yet on when that's going to happen, but it'll probably hopefully fall within the same time we're driving the other piles. So you probably wouldn't even notice that we're driving different piles. Any other questions? Any questions? Yes.
Larry?
You have Monday through Friday. You have which holidays scheduled do you have?
There is holiday schedule. It's there's an agreement between the unions and the city, and they have a list of holidays of what holidays they're not allowed to work or not was agreed upon with that project labor agreement. I don't have those days on top of my head, and every union has different list. But you know, the major holidays I think are on that list, like July 4th, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Labor Day, Memorial Day, New Year's. But there's certain holidays that different unions have different days. Some work, some don't work, like the day after Thanksgiving, Veterans Day. Some unions are off, some unions work. Lincoln's Day or President's Day. So it's typically Monday through Friday, except the holidays, right? Except specifically the major holidays, we won't be working. Some of the more minor holidays, we may work. We may have some work, but it's a lot less work because also, you know, our workers, our operators are also on a reduced staff those days because they have vacation, they have holiday. So typically, like an election day or Lincoln's birthday, you know, we may tell the contractor to do non-hazardous work, something small, something light, so that we can still manage them with a shorter skeleton crew. Any other questions?
I just have a request if possible, which is I know that location at the treatment plant is like is very visible, especially to the pier. If there are renderings of the facility or the proposed building, I know you said about 2 stories tall, above the water level, it would just be nice to know either have a rendering of maybe what the view would be like from a point on the pier, or just have a what's the height of the building above
Right.
sea level, and we could actually I could mock something up,
Yeah.
just because I have a
think we
feeling
have
that's
that.
going to be.
I
Oh,
think
perfect.
we may, yeah.
We've had I have a rendering somewhere. Let me see if I can pull it up in my files.
Okay.
If my computer doesn't.
Yeah,
freeze
if I
on me.
remember correctly, it's like a greenish.
Yeah, I was like way back a year ago. I don't have it handy in front of me, but and Tracy is also raising her hand.
Yeah, I remember we requested the a comparison building, and
We did send that
it-
out.
yeah, there was one that there was one that was going to be very similar, just to give an idea.
Awesome.
Go through the
Yeah.
Fine Art Commission. The design.
Find it. If I can find it, great.
I think it did. I think it had to go to public design.
Public design.
Because we had to write a letter.
Yeah, I don't. Let me see. It's a group to spear. Residency has so many different things. I know. Yeah, right now I'm not on on the DEP server, so this is all my on the computer I'm using.
Yeah.
So I can't. It's whatever I have.
I
The
mean,
version I have on this computer. I may not.
I have to go
hope
into
I
my
have it,
archives
but-
as well.
I was just thinking like it would be nice to have that if we're like telling people, because it sounds like there's going to just be a lot of pile driving at the site period for about 1.5 years, and it's nice to let people know like, hey, this is what it's going to look like. This is what it's for.
Right.
Picture is always helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can send it to Robert, and he can share it with everyone just to kind of give a reminder what the building looks like. It's
Yeah.
essentially it has an industrial look.
Yeah.
Like a metal facade, a metal looking facade, like a greenish gray metal looking, I think, with lines. On the very top, there's clerestory windows. So you can sort of see right through a part of the top of the building. But essentially a giant metal box with some windows. That's how it looks. And that was our commission's input. We had wanted to match the look of the other buildings in the background. They thought it was too boring, so they wanted something more industrial. And I mean, it doesn't look bad at all. Actually, you know, it was kind of funny when you're like, that's what you wanted. But you know, we had some touches like the clerestory windows. And I think it really brightens up the whole design.
Nice.
I'll send that over to Robert after this meeting, and he can share it with the
Yeah.
rest of you guys.
That meeting was in February of 19, so I couldn't get it from my archives quickly, Dan, or else I would have put it up, but
Don't worry about it. And
Okay.
I actually brought it. I found like an RFP that I'm looking at right now. So I have like a weird little side view of it. But yeah, just nice to like remind people if we make a little PR push to
yes.
make people aware.
No,
Great.
I'm thinking I may have I may have something. Let me see if I can find it. So I can remember. We had to do some presentations, client slide meetings. Maybe I have something here.
I might be able to even share my screen. Just a sec, because I think I have a view of it. But it'll end up stopping your share, so I'll lay off.
I can stop my share for now, and you can see if you can get it up.
Yeah.
While I look for
Let me get a little.
maybe a picture I have from from a presentation I did for something else.
There we go. That should be.
There we go.
That should be it.
That's the one that I remember.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah, the one upper, the
Upper
one on
left.
the top is
Upper
the one
left,
that
yeah.
looks.
All
And
right,
then-
perfect.
A lovely shade of green.
All right. Just wanted to have that up, especially for the live stream.
Great, thank you.
Any
All right.
other questions? We're good. All right. Thank you guys for the presentation. We really appreciate it. And hopefully, we don't have that PowerPoint, do we? That wasn't sent to us yet, right?
No, Andrew, is that shareable? I know we're gonna have it on the live stream, but
I can forward it to you right now.
okay, great, thank you.
Yeah,
And I'll share.
Robert was sent it. It's shareable. I think
Okay.
we shared the last presentation. There's
Yes, you
nothing-
did. All right, great. So we'll share it with the committee. And that was a wonderful presentation. We appreciate the update, right, Jana? I mean, it's certainly helpful.
Needed.
It seems very timely to our meeting because pile driving is going to start in
Yeah,
about 2 weeks. So I think our timing was spot on.
right. Definitely.
Okay.
So
All right.
yeah, if any other questions, concerns, definitely let me know, let Robert know.
Great.
We'll try to address your concerns during the construction with the contractor, with our construction management team. So we'll work together to make sure that this project's successful.
Okay,
Thank you
perfect.
so much.
Designation, there was a WWRF. What does that stand for?
So we're rebranding wastewater treatment plants because wastewater treatment plant sounds like some crap plant that we do. But these plants, they're pretty resilient. They do a lot of things that are great for the environment. So we're rebranding it to a wastewater resource recovery facility. And so we have in some projects, and I think potentially even in Owl's Head, we're talking about doing this, is that a lot of these projects now we're using our dye gas. We're using dye gas to run engines. The engines are used to make electricity. Electricity is used to power the rest of the plant. So we're trying to become
Yes.
zero footprint facility. And all that happens because we're reusing that resource we're getting that's raw sewage. So so it's basically a pretty cool thing that the plants do. So we're trying to let the environment, let the people know that this isn't just a wastewater plant. It's like a crap plant. This is a recovering resource and being sustainable and zero footprint to the environment.
The water pollution control plant. Water pollution control, WPCP.
That used to be the old one, water pollution control plant. I don't know why we stopped using that. I actually like that one a lot too. But today we're at the wastewater resource recovery.
Much better than the grit and scum building, the residuals building.
The residuals, grit and scum, yes.
I love the
I
rebranding.
kind of love it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
So Jen, I think we just have a quick second agenda item. And I think just by way of background to remind the committee, we had on our wish list, to-do list some time ago, a uh, a discussion about how to, be a little bit more involved in terms of community cleanups. And one area in particular was the corner catch basins. And I just want to see if I could easily share my, my screen. Can everyone see that?
Isn't
I
it?
see a white background at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't see it? Oh, I see it on mine. How weird. You are screen sharing, it says.
Yeah, I just see a white backdrop.
Maybe
Huh.
Although you are sharing, it's just pure white.
That is so weird. Because on my screen, I would love you all to see my screen. On my screen, I could see my little PowerPoint presentation.
Try just moving forward on the PowerPoint a step or two. Maybe it
Yeah,
needs
I
like a
am.
refresh.
I'm actually scrolling up and down.
maybe just close it and do it again and select the file. That happens to me sometimes. It does like a whiteboard. I'm not sure why.
That might be it, is you might have selected share screen whiteboard.
Okay, I will try it again.
There you go.
There, we got it.
I hit the mistake. I'm learning. So just to recap really quick, when Nick, I think it was back when Nick was chair, we had on our wish list of things to do, potentially doing a clean our corner catch basin campaign, because in the autumn, CB10 is inundated with calls about leaves. The Department of Sanitation sweepers cannot vacuum all the leaves that fall. Heavy rains cause street flooding at many of our streets, especially if the corner catch basins are clogged. And one of the best things I think about CB10 is we're home to approximately 10,300 street trees. And in the 2015 tree census, there was noted a 12.5% increase in trees since 2005, although we did lose a minimum of 30 trees in the last storm event. And the DEP, who's on this call, and Robert's here, we've talked about, and whenever we get these calls, we are always reminded that it's so important to help keep catch basin grates clear. Many people in the district don't even realize that if you live on a corner property, you are responsible for maintaining 18 inches from your curb, and that includes the catch basin area. And a lot of people just don't really realize how quickly it accumulates, and street flooding does impact many of the streets in the district. This is a picture of Ovington and 7th Avenue, and that catch basin is always, we're always requesting it be cleaned, and we have issues there about street flooding, and you could see it impact street crossing, and it happens to be a school crossing. And, this is throughout the district. Sometimes, I recently walked by and just snapped a couple of these photos of leaves already, and we're the end of September. And then the picture on the right, you could see, there's litter, it's leaves. And it's a question that we had posed ourselves as a committee to see if in the fall season, if there's any way that we can help promote cleaning the corner catch basins, either through a social media campaign, identifying flood-prone areas in the district. We have a few that, off the top of my head, Colonial Road between Bay Ridge Parkway to 85th Street, Ovington at 7th. I was looking through 311 data earlier today, and I think our numbers are pretty good, but a lot of it's anecdotal. Many times people don't call it into 311, but I remember Shirley was at one of those meetings where we talked about it. I know she's here on the call on the meeting, and we had talked about maybe doing a young persons or a scouting initiative, maybe to pick one of these prone areas and do a one-day cleanup. So I'm just throwing it out there to see if there's any interest. I think certainly doing a campaign, especially with budget cuts that we're facing. I know our elected officials have been doing a really great job in doing local community cleanups, and many people are participating, but we added it to the agenda because it was on an outstanding wish list of things to do. So I thought I would throw it at the committee and see what you thought. Shirley?
I think it will be a great idea, because now with the COVID and all that, with the Girl Scout you know, it's hard to have a meeting inside the building. So I think with this project, we can have them, you know, do some cleanup, just like doing it in the park, like park cleanup day. And we can do that, you know, sweeping the leaves. It will be great as their community service.
Right. See, I thought this was pretty good because even if you had a troop or a bunch of young people that wanted to do it with COVID, they could just do their own individually, take pictures, maybe post them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a group project, you know, if it could also be just, you know, a one-on-one. And I don't know how you think about that. Have the scouts been doing group cleanups? I know that
I remember we did the tree pits on 75th Street,
okay, that's right.
and we put some was it fertilizer or something like that? Way
The
back.
composting.
Yes, 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 yes. So I think that was fun. They love it. So I think
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so maybe we could talk offline and setting that up. I think Richard was at that event
Can be
on the
done.
committee.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think that's a good
Can be done. You think even social distancing? I mean, I don't know. Groups doing this.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, you know, it's actually easy to do social distancing if you give good assignments, you know, and separate them out. So maybe that's something. And if anyone else has any input, you could share it with me or Jana, either now or during the week.
And that could also
I know.
help taking videos and doing it with the social media blast.
Mhm.
With their permission, of course. I think it'd
Right.
be a cute little thing, like, look, our local Girl Scouts are cleaning up the basins, and then it spreads. And
It's
also maybe,
contagious, right?
yeah, and maybe also giving paper, like a paper campaign to the corner streets that you're talking about, the houses, so
Right.
that they are aware that they are responsible to clean those areas. They're
Okay,
not doing
Hmm.
sounds
that.
good.
Yeah.
doing it and then give them the paper. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Right. Okay, we could work on that, Shirley and Jana. I think that's a good idea.
I'd be happy to volunteer for any assistance with graphic design for handouts and things
Well,
like that.
thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
This
Hey,
is my
hey,
little census thing.
Very
hey,
good.
hey, did you think about looping in the bid? Maybe speak to the retails shops on the corners.
Yes.
Along,
Unfortunately, the Fifth Avenue bid does have the corner cleanup. So they have a new company and that's one of the areas they're focused on. So that's really good news. I haven't spoken to 86th Street bid, but that's a good idea, Joe. I'll reach out to them and even the Third Avenue merchants.
yeah. I just
Mhm.
find, walking the neighborhood and jogging, I run a lot, and I just find there's a lot of refuse from local establishments, whether it's restaurants or delis. There's just a lot of stuff on the street, and I think they can do their part and help out also.
Yeah, no, I agree. And in some parts of the district, we have issues with illegal grease dumping in the catch basins, which is a problem. And we try to get folks, if they see that, to report it because that's a big problem in the catch basins.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all I have.
I have a tiny bit of possible new business, just an idea to throw out for maybe for a new chair um, of environment,
Go ahead.
which is just an idea of maybe, I don't know if Community Board 10 has this, and Josephine, correct me if I'm wrong, but just maybe like a 1 or 2 page document that we as the environmental committee could put out that is for the entire board maybe to vote on or just to have, which is just like a commitment, an environmental commitment, or with maybe a couple of best practices and design focuses for the other committees so that they can, because environment, it can't be reactive, it has to be proactive. And maybe something where what we do here and what we hear and what we know can kind of trickle out to some of the other committees as well, so that they have some ideas on, hey, always be aware of street corners and sewage and things like that when you're dealing with zoning and when we're dealing with transit and when we're dealing with all this other stuff. So maybe just like, or it could be as simple as just a 1-page bullet point thing of here's some things that we as Community Board 10 and our neighbors, we just kind of commit to for an environmental purpose going forward. I don't know, just an idea. It could be tabled. I know that we have a bunch of things on our list, but
That would probably be easy to write up. So basically, you're saying like a pledge, like
yeah,
like the whole community board everyone, kind of a pledge, and we bring it out, right?
Yeah, that might just be a nice thing just to kind of come together on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to draft something up. I don't know everything about it, but hopefully you guys can email me a few things that like you can email me some things that you have in mind to put on that document, and then can continue it and maybe show it next week. Any
Yeah.
other new business? Good to go. All right, I think that's it, right? We can end the
That's
meeting.
all.
No voting,
Yes.
no nothing, right? Okay.
No voting. It's an informational meeting, and congratulations, Jana, and a thank
Thank
you again to
you.
DEP for
Congrats.
coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Yeah,
having
Thank
us.
you.
We
Good
appreciate.
night,
Have a
everyone.
good night,
too.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. Bye.